I'm sorry. I really am. I didn't want to or mean to ruin anybody's life.
Now, have you heard the story about the Crypto King? He's a Canadian kid who got into crypto super early on, and he made himself a small fortune, something like $40 million. Now, while things were going good for a number of years, I mean, he was hanging out with the likes of Lil Pump and Machine Gun Kelly, he was partying in Miami, he was buying mansions, the kid had it all. Well, they turned ugly quickly when investors started looking for their money back. And well, that's when the ground beneath him started to shrink. Honestly, his confession video with the black eyes, it became a historic moment here in Canada. Can you believe this even happened? Well, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what exactly went down, well, I've actually met up with Aiden here at my house. So we decided we're going to sit down and do a full interview on everything that he can discuss, and we'll be dropping that soon on all of our channels. So YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, wherever you watch these videos, be sure to tune in for that. For now, I'll give you a little breakdown on everything you need to know about the Crypto King. Here we go. Now, this story was absolutely everywhere. And how often do you see a kid who gets beaten up to a pulp and being held against his own will? I swear it's like something out of a movie. Now, when the money was coming in fast, well, word got around in his local Whitby, Ontario area, and the kid, well, he was turning hundreds of thousands of dollars into millions. So people were throwing money at him left, right, and center, and at one point, well, he was up like 40 million buckaroos. The kid, he had 2 McLarens, 2 Benz, and a Lambo. He also had multiple properties. Now, he was partying in Miami with those famous rappers I mentioned. The kid was only like 19 years old and on top of the world. But around 2021, well, a few investors, they started asking for some of their money back. And well, the market, it started to collapse. And well, from there, it all kind of turned into one big Ponzi scheme where Aiden was borrowing against the money that people were investing to pay off his debts and to keep the whole thing going. But it was a sinking ship. Now, I think that's what happened. It could be a little more complex than that, but we'll let Aiden explain when we sit down for her interview. What? Yeah. At least that's the gist of what happened. I don't know every little detail, but that's why I'll be sitting down with Aiden and he'll discuss exactly what went down. Now, when Aiden couldn't pay people back, well, that's when he had to go home to his mother and his father and tell them that he was in a whole lot of trouble. Eventually, they would go for bankruptcy, but people were still clearly pissed. I mean, there was like 40 million bucks missing. So while this is playing out and he's going through bankruptcy, well, one night while out in Toronto, well, all of a sudden he got ushered into a car by a bunch of dudes who were posting a few pistols in his direction. Now, they drove him out into like the suburbs, then they went into the countryside. They held him up in like a motel, and that's where they held him hostage, beat him to a pulp, and made him film this now historic video. Now, the kid, I've met him. He's not like Mr. Buff. He's a skinny guy. He's lucky he made it out of there alive. Now, the kidnappers, they were later identified, and it turns out, by no big surprise, well, one of these dudes was an investor, and he was down around $750K. He probably only gave him $50K, but now it's $750K, and he wants it back. The man's name is Akil Haywood, and he don't look like the type of guy you want to mess around with. Anyway, when I met with Aiden, he seemed to be in good spirits. The kid is bankrupt, that's for sure, but he has paid back something like $16 million. Now, clearly, there's a whole lot more to this story, so stay tuned to my interview with the Crypto King, which we're going to be filming tomorrow. It'll probably drop on the weekend. So hit follow, send some Bitcoin my way. Whatever you got to do to support, we're an independent news channel. I'll see you guys in another video.